I've got normal mates, and I eat normal food. But to be honest, I've never considered bored blokes jumping up and down and chanting around Queen Street on a Friday night that normal. However, I've always wanted to know what makes the Hare Krishna tick, what makes them so happy all of the time.
People and places, I see diversity and beauty.
I think it's a religious kind of an organisation. My understanding is that they sort of pray to some blue deity. They don't eat meat, they don't drink, they don't do a huge amount of fornicating, and they all wear dresses. Should be interesting. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Krishna, hey. Well, if I got a treat for you, have a squiz at that. It's amazing what you find down the end of a long driveway. Although this temple in West Auckland is relatively new, Hare Krishnas have been around in New Zealand since the 70s. They live based on a set of beliefs that are over 5,000 years old. They've got 100 acres of land out here, a temple, a farm, even a school. And it's also home to a few people who are surprisingly normal.
G'day, Mark. How are you?
You look like you're in charge.
Hey, mate, sometimes. You know what it's like.
Hey, there's high energy in here. What's going on?
Well, at the moment, they're chanting the holy names of the Lord, Hare Krishna and Ram.
Yep.
These are names addressing the Lord. Today is our Sunday feast program, but it's a little special today. We have one of our visiting gurus.
Ooh.
He travels around the world, and today there's going to be initiation.
Talk us through the what it is to be a Hare Krishna in 101 basics.
One dedicates his life to Krishna. Everyone's dedicating their lives to somebody. We dedicate it to Krishna. Krishna means the most beautiful. Krishna's the name of God.
Hare Krishna!
Hare Krishna!
Hare Krishna!
Hare Krishna!
Krishna Krishna!
Krishna Krishna!
Hare Hare!
Hare Hare!
Hare Rama!
Hare Rama!
Hare Rama!
Hare Rama!
Rama Rama!
Rama Rama!
Hare Hare!
Hare Hare!
No,
This
now
is
you
cool,
can
isn't it? Yeah?
sit down.
I was greeted by Carla, who's one of the temple managers, and he seems a pretty cruisy sort of a guy, but he took me through the protocols and ensured that I didn't put my foot out of place. But in saying that, it does seem pretty casual there. It doesn't seem as though you're going to offend too many people by making a mistake. It seems pretty inclusive and pretty relaxed. Who are the lucky two who are getting initiated today?
I don't know, mate. It's a surprise for both of us. Let's hope they turn up.
Yeah, well, you know, we don't. The last thing we need is a no-show. One of the first things that strikes you here is the great sense of calm. You know, the beauty on the inside sort of stuff. But like anything, it comes at a price. Basically, there are 4 things that you have to give up when you get welcomed into the movement. And these people who signed in today by given their new names and giving a verbal contract with the guru must not indulge in any eating of red meat. Now, any Kiwi bloke worth his salt is going to find that tough. You know, illicit sex, enough said. Alcohol or any form of intoxication whatsoever, be it, you know, kava or anything that tickles your fancy, that's got to go to the wayside. And gambling, I can live without the gambling, but the other 3, to be fair, given my heathenistic existence, I could struggle with. Basically, you know, when they look at me coming in there, I'm pretty close to the Antichrist.
Your name now is, get the right hand, Sudevi Dasi. Your name now is Krishna Balaram Das. Krishna Balaram Ki Jai. Uh-oh, he doesn't like that. Here's your bead bag also. He wanted that name. He wanted that name.
Well, it's incredibly welcoming. I mean, we went in there and everyone had a smile on their face. It was really inclusive. There were elements of humour to it. It was diametrically opposed from any religious experience that and I use that word carefully because it's more a movement, but any religious experience that I've had before. But the thing I probably didn't expect was to actually be captivated for an hour and a half listening to it. And a lot of what was said made sense to me, and it was said in a way that was engaging. Well, I'm here with Swami, who's the guru who's just indoctrinated a couple of... that's probably not the right word, is it?
No, probably not.
Brought a couple of people into the Hare Krishna movement. Philosophically, there are many things that I appreciate about what I heard you saying today, although the challenge of the 4 principles. you know.
I'm not going to ask you which one you're challenged with.
Well, I'm challenged with all four of them, sadly, which leads me to the conclusion that I may be, you know, several lifetimes away from getting to the place where I need to be.
You look at people after they've done those things. Look at their faces. Are they smiling? Are they happy? Are they rolling on the ground in ecstasy? No.
Yeah, but, I mean, one could argue, you know, that you start off with a couple of cheeky beers with a few mates, steak on the barbecue, you might meet somebody, you might get lucky, you know, and then after that, you might go for a gamble. You know, and that, to some people, would be the ideal night.
And they wake up the next morning how?
Well, it depends on how good the girl is beside you. They might wake up with a huge smile, you know, or they might, you know, wake up and try and leave the room without being noticed. I could give all of those four things up. I could do that tomorrow if I knew it was going to, the void would be filled with what you're saying, you know.
The guarantee is the experience.
Yeah.
Just like if you experiment a little bit with, let's say, our chanting or some of the other yoga practices that we teach, you'll experience something. You'll experience happiness unlike anything you've ever experienced before.
Oh, God.
I'll go and get some...
And just a small tuft.
Small tuft.
Do you have to have it dead set in the middle?
You got curls. Yeah, you do.
I think of liberation, though, isn't it, once it goes?
That's great.
Isn't it?
Are you a bit nervous, Mark?
No, I'm just enjoying the liberation of going nude again.
Over.
But why they're here?
It's a uniform. Like there's the policeman, there's the Buddhist monk, there's the priest from the Catholic Church. So when people see the policeman, they'll approach them accordingly. Someone's broken into my house, I need some help. So when they see someone dressed like this, they inquire, hey, what are you guys into?
Is it not part of what you do to devote your life here to getting a better life in the next realm, so to speak?
Yeah, well, it is. But even before I joined the movement, I had a good life.
Yeah.
And also, I'd given up most of the vices, meat eating, intoxication. I was right into health food and quite an austere life. So I think both that life that I was living with all the vices, I can't complain about. But this life's definitely better than that life because it's more complete. And the ultimate goal, actually, of human life is...
You've just gone down one, haven't you?
Oh, man.
Yeah, I'm not usually keen on getting bored, but if getting into uniform is part of joining up, then bring it on and take it off.
Hey.
Yeah. Oh, brilliant. Yeah, that's just, I quite like the...
You like that?
The only thing that concerns me is there are plenty of people around here with a full head of hair, like I came here with. But how come you've got hair?
Well, although I live in the temple, I'm a professional like you. I work for Sky TV, and I have to mingle around with.
Wonderful, because this will look so good in my board meeting on Tuesday. G'day, guys.
Sounds
Suit
good.
and tie. And...
I'm sorry, have a little bit of hair.
You don't have to shave?
No.
Still, I wanted to get on the inside of this Hare Krishna mob, so I donned the fruity kit, and now it's time for the big Friday night out. They're excited, I'm excited, we're ringing bells, going to be chanting for Krishna. It's just a matter of remembering the words. Righto, hare mai, jump on in.
Whoa.
Yeah, we'll take you in style this evening.
Go.
What say you? Not a bad look, is it? Right, I got to learn the words on the way into town, okay? Yeah, I'm ready to go. I mean, I've you know, since I was knee-high to a grasshopper, seen these guys tearing around the main streets of New Zealand, ringing the bells and hitting the drums and singing the songs. Never thought I'd do it, but quite looking forward to it, actually. Quite chipper about the whole thing.
You know the words yet? Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama,
So here I am with the Hare Krishna crowd, ready to rock up Queen Street on a Friday night. I mean, it's not something entirely foreign to me, but to be fair, I've never done it like this before. Rightio, troops. Oh, the head's cold, really is. So I might have cut a few years off my degree if I'd learned a bit about marketing from these guys with their jingle.
We want people to think of Krishna, so it's amazing that just by this one sound, you don't have to say anything.
Yeah.
And people are going, it's the Krishnas. And that's the goal of everything we do.
Do you cop much or any stick on a Friday night coming down here?
We haven't for a long time, but if we do, we just beat them to a pulp, mate.
them down on the ground.
That's what I like. To be honest, I've got no idea what this is going to be like. Oh, I can hear our brethren. Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Hare. Talk about catchy tunes. This chanting, as they promised me, really is quite invigorating. Bloody brilliant, I'm loving this. I mean, I've never been very musically inclined, so to speak, but I'm getting the go of the cymbals. Listen to this. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Rama, Hare Hare. All in moderation. It's enough enlightenment for one day. Well, this is the abode for the night. Carlos left me with a DVD player, my own TV. The only problem is that I'm not going to understand too many of these at this stage in my learning process. That'll be day 3. But quite looking forward to putting the head on the pillow. It's not going to be a big sleep though. Apparently we're up at about 2:30 or something to go chanting, which admittedly I thought we did a fair bit of that tonight down Queen Street. Apparently not enough. There are certain requirements on a Hare Krishna, and one of them is that you chant the mantra some inordinate amount of times a day, something like 400 times. Or oh God, I've never worn a chain in my life. I don't know how to get that off. And quite frankly, in front of you, I'm not going to take my pants off. So push off and let me jump into bed if you don't mind. Well, there's nothing I like more than getting up at 4:30 a.m. for a bit more chanting. Oh, it's not right, mate, is it? It's not right. Oh, goody. Wonderful. It's been 4 hours sleep. That's all I need.
This is our morning jog.
Yeah. That's one great thing about living 45 minutes away from the centre.
Isn't it?
I think it's a beautiful thing, mate. People are really, really happy, but how did it ever get to the stage where there were people dancing around at 4:30 in the morning? That's what I want to understand. It is a youthful movement. The Krishna who they worship is really young and beautiful, and they'd have to be, you know, because the amount of dancing that goes on in there, you couldn't do that if you're 80. Everywhere you look, they're just smiling faces, mate. This is magnificent. I mean, if you can imagine for a moment, you know, putting all of your preconceived ideas aside and jumping into a room with people playing music and singing and dancing at 4:30 in the morning, it's actually a wonderful, wonderful experience. It's in stark contrast compared to, say, a stock standard Western religion where you sit in church in your dark gears and listen to a guy prattle on and on and on. In here, you're doing the total opposite. You're celebrating life, you're jumping around, and both of them are a bit weird to me, but I enjoy that one a hell of a lot more. A couple of hours of morning chanting and osmosis takes over. I find myself mysteriously becoming at one with my surroundings. Hide hiva grantes, Siddhante seva sevaya, Kisente se kamani, Yetsa eva tamansare.
Pretty good.
But to be brutally honest, as I continue the search for myself, what I keep finding is the proximity of temptation. I have scoped the neighbourhood and there are 1 or 2 places where one can get a cleansing ale. I believe I can probably get there and back and neck maybe 2 pints in about 20 minutes. Talk about eat your veggies. Little wonder these guys look so healthy. There's no lacking the 5+ a day diet here.
That's really why we dance. We dance a lot so we can eat more.
I haven't seen anyone here, you know, with the New Zealand weight problem.
No, it's amazing, isn't it?
50% of Kiwis. And I guess since they don't eat meat, Hare Krishnas are the masters of making the most out of everything else.
We make over about 200 or 300 preparations just from milk alone. Just from milk. Hundreds of sweets and the curd like you had last night.
Yep.
And yeah, we worship the products from the cow. We accept the cow as like our mother.
So naturally, I thought it'd be polite to head down to the farm operation to meet Mum.
Give him a scratch between the horns now.
Half the spinach. Does he like that, does he?
It's the opportune moment to be able to do it because he's pacified.
Look at the size of the big fella. These cows clearly have to be amongst the happiest cows in the world. There's no fear of heading off to the abattoir for this lot. They spend their whole time with their head down just eating, don't they?
And but also
Similar to you lot, really. I mean,
we spend a lot of time eating the good food.
A lot of time
Yeah.
eating good food, eh?
But also many things are considered sacred in the cow. Like obviously we can make many products out of the cow after it's passed away naturally with the skin of the cow.
Oh, right.
After it's passed away naturally. But also the urine of the cow and the stool of the cow are considered antiseptic.
Whilst I ponder the miracle of cow 1s and 2s, I get introduced to the Hare Krishna work ethic. And it's not all fun and games, no leaping about and chanting for these guys. They actually work damn hard to keep this operation ticking over. It's not quite the layabout lifestyle I was expecting. People at home are going to say, you know, you're a young guy in the prime of your life. What's in it in turning down all of these, the 4 principles of temptations? You know, having a few beers with your mates, a bit of red meat, maybe you know, meeting a nice girl here and there.
There may be many things that we're attracted to in this world, but ultimately the purity is missing. So the real happiness that we're all hankering for is missing.
Yeah.
So why everyone's going from one thing to the next to the next. It's not 1 girlfriend, it's 2 girlfriends, 3 girlfriends, like that. So purity means that you're able to sustain what you're given. God's giving naturally, and whatever he's giving, if we can be satisfied with that, then we can become happy.
I quite like that way of thinking. Making the most about what God gives you, not being too worried about what's being created artificially. The quest for purity at Riverhead is pretty strong. Were you always quizzical in terms of spirituality?
I was always interested in living a pure life.
Did you always live a pure life?
No.
No.
I found myself in the midst of living in a very impure way.
Yeah.
So, but always hankering for the pure life.
Everyone I've spoken to out here seem really educated and really open and really quizzical. And so it seems to me that you've arrived at this decision not by being pushed into it, but by your own inquisition and your own inquiry and your own desire to ask those questions, you know?
Yeah.
It's nice to be out of the confines of Riverhead, to be able to cruise the streets and take a bit of time out. It's also a good opportunity to see how people react to a Hare Krishna in a valiant. Hare Krishna. I think on the whole, the Hare Krishnas get quite a good reception from the general public. I mean, I've pulled up beside a few cars and they've all sort of smiled and waved, and you get the odd one that sort of takes a double take and then starts laughing and pointing, but I guess that's to be expected. But the reason they get a good reception, it's all to do with karma, mate. They put out a good vibe and they're positive people and they're happy and outgoing, and, you know, they're not about doing anything that's harmful to the environment or people around them. So and so shall you reap. I think it's time for a little bit of a purity top-up. And one of the way the Haris find Krishna consciousness is through yoga.
Roll over the toes, point the feet, dog up. Rolling back over the toes, dog down.
How does yoga relate to the Krishna consciousness?
Do you have a car?
What's the right answer? I do.
You do, and do you look after your car?
Well, there's not many cars around that are 35 years old.
And still running.
And still running.
Right.
So I guess I do look after it.
I guess we look at it the same way. The soul, being the driver of this vehicle, is the most important part. But to get us to the destination, the end of life, we have to look after the vehicle. So, yoga is like that.
Okay, guys. Walking the feet forward. We're then going to lift them up off the ground. Very nice.
For some folk, yoga is the first encounter with the Hare Krishna movement. Another splendid way newcomers are introduced to the Hare Krishna way of thinking is through the regular Sunday night feast.
A definition of God, one who is in possession of all 6 opulences, which we'll look
with
at.
A little taste of what the movement's all about with your entree. And after the words of wisdom, everyone gets a chance to find pure enjoyment before tucking. I mean, some of the things that are being discussed seem pretty far out for a, you know, pragmatic, logical, black and white sort of bloke. But if you let your imagination go and you ponder the bigger picture, then I guess you can appreciate what they're saying, but it takes a bit of imagination. But as much as I'm enjoying my time with the Hare Krishna devotees, certain realities are starting to kick in. My spring's gone. I'm afraid I'm blowing a calf. I feel a bit like Karate Kid, mate.
Now it's the so spiritual part.
It's fair to say I've tried hard to embrace the Hare Krishna way of life, and there are many things about it that I dig. It's just lacking a couple of vital ingredients that are quite important to me. Don't judge me, mate. I'm more a heathen than a Hare. My body is not a temple. I mean, this thing is not for everyone, don't get me wrong. There are going to be people who think, oh, it's a cult, but you can join it in many levels as long as you adopt some of the Krishna lifestyle. So you can be, you know, there are doctors, accountants, lawyers, there's all sorts of people out there. They don't have to look like this, but they're low-key. They've got a lovely disposition. They're not hurting anyone, and they're very welcoming and very spiritual. And I think the key thing for me is they're educated, they're intelligent, so they're making an informed decision. And while I may have moved on from their words of wisdom, they'll stick in my sword forever.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna.
People and places, I see diversity and beauty. When I look to seek and see, friendly faces come to greet me.
Diplomatic Immunity is next, and tomorrow, unravel the mystery surrounding a psychopath and his legacy of terror. Real crime goes beyond the Darklands, Australia. Tomorrow on TV1.